Yes, thank you. Good morning. My name is Tim Keenan. I'm owner of Creative Media Recording, and I'm on the board of the Cypress Chamber of Commerce. And thank you all for being here this morning. We appreciate it. This is our monthly networking breakfast that we have. We've been doing it virtual since the pandemic started. And we have some great news that we're hoping to go live soon. We'll get to that in just a second. First of all, programs like this, because we've been virtual and Chamber of Commerce relies on its events, we do have to rely on sponsorship. And our presenting sponsor for our monthly networking breakfast is Kinetic Mortgage. Kinetic Mortgage is your premier independent mortgage broker in Cypress. They just need one credit report to find you the best mortgage rates and prepare personalized loan options for almost any budget. Additional sponsors include the OC Breeze news organization and Creative Media. Also, if you're so inclined after this presentation is over and you've enjoyed it and you thought you got something out of it, you can go to cypresschamber.org and we have a donation spot. So if you feel like donating a little something to cover the cost of all our expenses, that would be helpful. We are getting back into live things at the end of the year. We're very excited about it. In fact, let me just tell you what we have planned. In July, we're going to still be virtual. Because we're doing a program on redistricting. You know, every 10 years with the census, everybody goes through a redistricting problem. It's the cycle. And in July, we have our Orange County Redistricting Commissioner, who's part of a citizens group with the state of California that is representing Orange County in the redistricting process. So she will kind of give an overview of what the redistricting process is and all that kind of stuff. So August, we're hoping to go back live. We're hoping to go back to the Residence Inn here in Cypress. And our guest is going to be the police chief, the new police chief of the city of Cypress, Mark Lauterbach. So look forward to that. And we'd love to see those of you who aren't from out of state to come back to our presentations live. And we'd love to have you. So we have a great program today. We're very excited to have a friend of mine who agreed to do this kind of at the last minute. Actually, I gave her 4 weeks notice, so I felt good about that. Her name is Tracy Lindley. Tracy is a professional voice actor with a home studio. She's based in the Midwest, and she's had the pleasure of working with clients like Hewlett-Packard, Realtor.com, and Amazon Pharmacy. And the cool thing about this is these are companies and more that are clients that she met and began a business relationship by just using her free LinkedIn profile. I've had a chance to see her full course at a conference, a number of conferences, and she has some great tips to share. Her e-course, The LinkedIn Edge, has helped hundreds of freelance professionals grow their businesses using her same methods. So Tracy, I'm gonna let you take it over and I'll ask everybody else to mute if they would. So.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Tim. And I know we're short on time this morning, so I've tried to pack as much information as I can for you into a short amount of time. I realize that there are many different industries represented here this morning. I'm used to speaking to voice actors, but I've actually done a few, like I've done a presentation for my local chamber. I'm actually located out of St. Joseph, Missouri, which is near Kansas City, Missouri. And what I have found is that there's just so many principles that we can take and apply to any business. I'm assuming that these are mostly small businesses, that most of us are entrepreneurs. Hopefully that's correct. But what I'd like to talk to you today is about how to use LinkedIn to grow your small business. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and I'll get started. I'll show you just a quick presentation and then we'll probably head to my LinkedIn profile. Everybody can see the screen okay? Yes? Okay. So my story basically is just that I haven't even been a voice actor as long as a lot of people have taken to grow a successful career. I started in 2014, and like I said, I'm from the Kansas City area. I actually have 4 kids. They're all under 13. They're upstairs watching a show somewhere, doing something. So I've managed to grow this business since I was pregnant with my 4th child. And I feel like LinkedIn has been definitely a huge tool in that. So that's kind of what I wanted to share about this morning. In 2015 was when I discovered LinkedIn as a marketing tool, and I had my first 6-figure year in 2018 as a solopreneur. So I want to talk to you about why LinkedIn is more than just another social media platform, a job hunting platform. I'm trying to help you shift your mindset this morning to think about LinkedIn as a free marketing tool. So think about it. On LinkedIn, you can find great leads for your business. You can build relationships. It allows others to get to know you for who you are as a business and you personally just a bit, as much as you want to share with them professionally. It allows others to recommend you. So it builds that trust coming from, personal testimonials. It allows you to share your expertise. You can share not just things about your business, but things you've learned, videos. There's so many ways that you can share your point of view on LinkedIn. It allows you to network. That's a huge one. You can stay in front of your prospects so that they don't forget who you are and what you offer. It also allows you the opportunity to engage in groups, maybe with not just within your industry, but expanded into other industries. And of course, tastefully promoting your services. If you were to Google, if anybody here were to Google a business, any business name, usually LinkedIn is going to show up on the page 1 of those search results. If you put in your name or your business name, depending on, my name is my business. So I'm just using that as a picture of showing you that LinkedIn matters because it shows up in the first page of search results. When people are looking for your business, they're going to find your LinkedIn profile. And I want you to ask yourself, how does that look right now? Is that a scary thing? Like, does that freak you out to think about people looking at your LinkedIn profile? Or is that a good thing? So that's what I want to get you thinking about today, is just that you may have forgotten about LinkedIn, but Google has not. There are 3 steps in the method that I teach on how to use LinkedIn. These are important. So the first one, the very first step, before you draw people to your profile, you want to optimize that profile first. So that's step number 1, is to optimize it. Step number 2 is to look for and connect with those who can benefit from your services. I want you to think about who needs your services. Don't just spam the world. Narrow it down to what a lot of marketers consider an avatar. Who's your ideal person? It doesn't have to be, it can be as specific or as broad as you want it to be. But the first step is to figure out who actually needs what I do and can benefit from my services. The third step, once you have searched for and connected with those people, is to build those relationships through direct communication. I like to direct message people. I feel like that is a helpful way. Once people have accepted your connection request, you can actually build that direct communication by going and doing a direct message method. There's, of course, you can post things and that helps with engagement too, but I feel like it's a great opportunity to introduce yourself, to, in a non-spammy way, look at how you can share with them what you do, how you can solve a problem that they have, and then just start building up that trust and that communication. So those are the steps that I have used. And I had, when I first started this business, I just had a simple I had a notebook, and now I have a little worksheet. It looks like this. All it is what I call 5 daily reach outs. So by 5 daily reach outs, I mean thinking about 5 people that you can reach out to directly each day. And what that does is create a habit. I've been influenced greatly by productivity and habit forming books that I've been listening to within the past 6 months or so, that have really opened my eyes to the fact that that's where my success has come from, is building those successful habits, planning out my day so that I don't miss that marketing window. When I was pregnant with my 4th baby and just trying to start a business, which sounds like a crazy time to begin a business. Yes, I'm getting some significant head nods. Most people don't think, oh, I'm about to have my 4th kid. I think I'll start a business now. It just happened. I had been interning at our local cable station and realized that it was getting too much to schlep it across town and figure out how to get a babysitter for the amount of money they were paying me. It was not a good amount. And then the guy at the cable place was like, "Hey, did you know you can do this from home?" And that's all it took. I took it and ran. As many of you can relate, if there are entrepreneurs and freelancers in here, we are self-made, driven people. And that's what leads to success. And so if you want something, the first thing that I did was research. And so by being here, you are learning something from another viewpoint that you hadn't thought of perhaps about LinkedIn. And that's the first step, is to learn about what you're proposing to do, how to learn to do something better. I couldn't wait to get started learning about voiceover. But then as soon as I had my business, I needed to get it going. And that's where I hit the roadblocks. So this morning, I just want to teach you, now that I've taught you the 3 steps, those are the basic steps. And I don't have time to go over exactly how to optimize your profile, how to do the searching and connecting. And I would love to show you all of my templates that I use, but I have a limited amount of time. So what I want to try to do is hit the important parts about the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn. So this is what I consider some of the quick touch points of what to do. So first of all, when you go to your LinkedIn profile, look at this. So this first picture that you'll see here on the left, I have a red circle around where to go to edit your public profile and URL. So when you start a LinkedIn profile, it's going to say LinkedIn /in/.com or something like that. But you want to make sure that that last part is personalized. If you don't personalize it, it's just going to say some gobbledygook with numbers and letters and not make any sense. So go there first. And this picture, if you want to, if you want to take a picture of it, screenshot it, whatever, this is how you edit it to where it looks like this over here on the picture on the right. You want to be able to personalize the last bit. So that's step number 1, I think. A lot of times I look on freelancers or small business and they have that gobbledygook, and that is like the number 1 thing that I see. I'm like, well, they don't know what they're doing. You don't want anybody to think that about your profile. So I also want to encourage you to update your work examples. Within LinkedIn, there's a featured section. It's one of the boxes right in the middle, and it allows you to feature what work you want to showcase. So whatever you do, there's got to be a way for you to showcase what you do. For me and Tim, we have videos, we have audio that we can show off. And so that's going to be the majority of what we are able to showcase as our work examples. But everyone has an opportunity. A graphic designer could showcase, some logos they've done. A writer could list, you can put some PDFs in there of your work. So there's got to be a way for people to see what you do and how good you are at it. That's the first thing I always look for. If I'm looking for a service, that's the number 1 place I go to on a website is services or what we do, something like that. I want to see examples of someone's work so that I can judge whether it fits what I'm looking for. Also, recommendations are super helpful. Does anyone in here buy something or go to a place without looking at a review first? Anybody? I think there's going to be a few who will, but you know that you're going to have to figure out somehow whether or not this place is reputable. Maybe you have a different way of doing it. Maybe you prefer personal recommendations, but a lot of times we don't have the luxury of a personal recommendation, like asking a friend, hey, have you been to this or this place? Most of the time we need to rely on online reviews. The best place on LinkedIn to do that is to ask for those recommendations. So a recommendation is going to be at the bottom of the page. And I can probably switch over real quick and take a look at that for you to show you where it is. Can you see my LinkedIn screen? I'm looking at you, Tim.
Not your personal.
Yeah.
We're just looking at your PowerPoint.
Okay, let me stop that share and let me start the other share really quick, just to kind of show you where these things are. So here's my LinkedIn profile. As I mentioned, the featured section is going to be right here. That's where you want to feature your most prominent work that you want people's eyes to be directed to, because there's going to be some who aren't that familiar with LinkedIn. They're going to kind of quit scrolling right around here. But the recommendation section is at the bottom. And this is so important because it is like your own Google review or Yelp or whatever. Received is who's written you a recommendation, and given is how many you've given to someone else. So if you want to ask for a recommendation, it's so easy. You just click that, type in the name of someone you'd like. Tim, I'm going to use you as an example. I've actually been a client. Tim has hired me to do some voiceover. So it would be very easy for me to ask him for Tim knows who I am. Go to somebody who you're comfortable doing that with, but then hit next. And then instead of just, writing this, of course, you want to personalize it. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to send it. But it's so easy to ask for a recommendation. It is about how you ask. So I would put some thought into how you write that recommendation. Remind the person of how you worked together and how they know you, because we are all forgetful. So anyway, the more you get, the better. Now, some people worry that people are going to go on there and try to steal my clients. Well, you know what? That's a close-handed attitude, and I don't live that way. I live with an open heart and generosity. And I think that, if I live my life that way, I have nothing to fear. So I'm not really worried if people go in and try to poach my clients, because you want to be so invaluable that no one would ever do that anyway. I'll stop share and I'll just go back over to my presentation really quick so that you guys can, oh, I forgot to do from the current slide. Because I do think these are some things that people forget. There's only 2 more anyway. So, okay, can everybody see the screen okay?
Not yet.
Okay, let me try that again. It's kind of hard when you're flipping screens back and forth, but I just wanted to be able to showcase that for you guys.
There we go, we're good.
Okay, awesome. So a lot of times people do this mistake too, which is copy and pasting from their resume. A lot of people do this, and I'm not going to make you raise your hand if your LinkedIn profile looks like this. This is a don't, and here's why. One of the main reasons is because when people are trying to optimize their SEO or search engine optimization, the thing that Google hates is duplicate copy. So if you have copy over here on your website and all you do is grab it and paste it into your LinkedIn profile, Google's like, hey, I saw that over there, so that's not original copy and I don't like that. So your ranking's going to go down. But more than that, you should write your summary not in third person, but in first person. I'll tell you why. When I think about LinkedIn and the way that I have understood and researched and used LinkedIn is to think of LinkedIn as a networking opportunity, kind of like this. This is a digital networking opportunity that we're all here. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't refer to myself in the third person when I'm talking to Tim. I would say I and me and things like that. So the pronouns and the way you refer to yourself are important because you want to personalize it as much as possible. You want to give people an opportunity to get to know you and your business. So you want to write your about section, your summary section, as if you were simply telling the person about yourself. And I invite anyone who would like to visit my profile. You're welcome to do that. And in a minute, I'll drop my link to do that. If you want to hop on and connect with me, you're welcome to check out what I have as an example and then use that as a jumping off point to write your own. But your about section should be a more broad view of back here. So I've never met Shelly before, for instance. So I would be back here and I would say, Shelly, so what do you do for a living? Shelly would tell me. So that response is what you would put on your about section, a more broad view of what you do. Now, if I'm saying, Shelly, what do you do? Can you unmute yourself and tell me? I'm trying to read what that says.
I'm editor of a local news website in Northwest Orange County. I try to keep our readers well apprised of the goings from the state, the county, and local cities so that they can know how they will be affected.
Thank you. That was a great summary, Shelly. So many people are not ready with that sort of response, but Shelly's was very candid. She knew exactly what she does and how she solves problems and how she helps people. That's perfect. That's how you want to write your about section. What, be as interesting and colorful as possible. Tell stories, invite people in, get them to keep reading, keep clicking, because we're here to solve problems. We're not here to sell stuff. I mean, obviously we're trying to make a business work, but we need to be problem solvers. Because everyone is not looking to be sold to, they just need a problem solved. So if I was looking for that position, I would Google that or whatever, maybe Shelly's name would pop up. I would want to very quickly find out how Shelly can help me and meet my needs. So then when you get down to the job experience section, that's when you get a little bit more nitty gritty. Maybe you'd share some of your clients or specific statistics, something like that. For me, I do list some of my clients and some of my agents, and I kind of bullet point it really. Bullet points and white space are really great in LinkedIn because people are busy. Raise your hand if you are not busy. Right, I'm not going to see any hands. Everybody's busy. So you want to write in a way that people are going to be able to quickly see what they do, because guess what? If you've got this big chunk of text, people are just going to click off of there and go, like, they don't have time. They don't have time or attention span, because that's what we've done to ourselves in society. We all know that. We all know our attention span is less than a goldfish, right? We all know those statistics. So I want you to think about that when you're writing your about section and your job experience section. Try to use bullet points, use symbols or emojis if appropriate. I'm talking like check marks and bullets, not smiley faces and roses. Whatever's appropriate. If you have a animal grooming service or something, maybe you want to use a little paw print because that's cute. And it also is circular. So things like that. The more creative you can be, the more you can stand out from the crowd in a good way. That's what you're looking for. So don't write your summary like a resume. Also, my last point is do not make finding you a chore. So for this, I'm going to stop. Well, hang on. I'll go show you. But if anybody wants my contact information, I'll throw it up on their screen there for just a minute. The LinkedIn Edge is my course, the linkedinedge.com. It is specifically geared towards freelancers and small businesses and not voiceover. The voiceover one I have at thevoedge.com. But here's my email address. And obviously the URL is in the back. TracyLindley.com is my website, and you'll find all my voiceover links and everything there. But yeah.
And we do have a few voiceover people here who joined us today too, because there's a little bit of crossover. There's some chamber people and a bunch of voiceover people logged in. So cool.
I do see a couple familiar faces. So awesome. Okay, I'm going to take you back over to my LinkedIn screen just real quick so that I can show you what I mean by don't be hard to find. There are actually, it's 4 or 5 places. I think it's 4 that you can put in your contact information. So I want to share that quickly and then open up the floor for Q&A. In my background photo, I have my graphic designer because I am hopeless with graphic design, even though anybody can do it on canva.com. I can't get it to line up right. So I had someone make this for me, and it has my URL and my email address right into the graphic, because that way someone doesn't have to even go looking. They don't even have to be connected with me, that they can see my contact information. So that's the number one place, because when we click on someone's profile, we're not going to look, the eye does not go to the copy first. Where does it go? Pictures, faces. So that's what you want to do. And for your background photo, I'm who I am is my business, but that may not be applicable to you. So, there are several ideas, and you could Google them for background photo options if you're not sure. But a lot of times a larger company would have, they already have a folder of those graphics that you can just simply input. Okay, so the other place obviously is your contact information. So if you go here, that would be your contact information. Anytime you see this pencil, that means you can edit something. Just quickly, I'll show you that I have my websites on my website, but I also have my business page on Facebook and my Instagram. A quick tip on how to do that is when you go to enter your website URL, many people simply put company or personal. Don't do that. Hit other, and then it pops up this field where you can type in whatever it is that you want to label your website. So that way you can describe it to make it easier for the person who's looking. So that way, when you show up, it shows up, you're not just tracylindley.com, but I can say, this is my voiceover website. This is my Facebook business page. This is my Instagram.
Wow. Good tip. I'm back.
So easy.
Yeah.
So there you go. I
see a lot of people add their contact information into their little bio too, even though it's not a direct link. It is in their bio, blah, blah, blah. And here's my website and here's my demos or whatever,
Yes, and that brings me to the third place that you can input your contact information. Here's my about section. I just have this little block down here that I actually just copy and paste and throw that down into the job experience section as well. So if you click that, you can see it down at the bottom. So there are 4 places that you can input your contact information. So that way you are so easy to find, which is the whole point. So we have reached the half-hour mark, and I would love to take any questions that anyone has at this time.
We've sent a couple of people have sent some questions ahead of time, and I kind of want to touch on those real quick. One global question, Tracy, so many people have said, we've had presentations before on other things like, another LinkedIn person. And we talked recently about using Instagram as a tool, and I use Twitter. I'm really happy with Twitter and what Twitter has done. But the cool thing the takeaway that I get from you is that it is worth it, that you do make contacts. Especially the cool thing about LinkedIn is exactly what you do, where you send a direct message to somebody that's basically a quick letter, a summary letter that says, hi, I'm Tracy, and this is what I do, and blah, blah, blah. I notice, and you personalize it to them. I noticed that you do this, that's always a cool trick. And it's hard to do in other formats like Instagram and like Twitter and Facebook. I don't even use Facebook. So I found those, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, to be the ones that I use the most. So you would say it's worth it.
Absolutely. And one thing that I really didn't say to you, but everyone knows it in the back of their minds, but let's bring it to the front of your minds. LinkedIn is the biggest, most highly used professional network. People use Instagram and Twitter and Facebook for all kinds of things, but they're mostly known for not business things. But LinkedIn is the place where everybody knows it's supposed to be just business. You get a lot less screenshots of people's lunch, talk about politics, whatever. You usually get more business focused things, which is why that's my favorite platform, because it just kind of pushes out all of that noise that really isn't helping me grow my business.
So in the past, another question, in the past, it's been difficult to do a second account. So say you work for a company and you have your LinkedIn profile with your company stuff, but you want to start a business. Can you start another LinkedIn account with that business?
I get that question a lot, and the answer hasn't changed. You're only allowed to have one personal profile because you're only one person. So think of it that way. However, you can have multiple company pages, and it's really easy to start a company page. It's in the top right. It's under the work. It says work. I could show you, but it's really easy. You might want to just Google how to do that real quick if you're not sure. But you can create multiple company pages, and then comes the important part of weaving those together, of figuring out how to tell the story of how you still do this, but now you do this also. And I've had to do that too, because I am primarily a voiceover talent, but I also realized that I have a skill for teaching others how to use LinkedIn. So I started a business with that, and that has become the VO Edge and the LinkedIn Edge. But it's just an e-course. I do offer consulting. I need a counselor.
It is counseling. No, it is counseling.
I do offer one-on-one consulting, and I'm happy to do, group things too. But the majority of my income, almost all of my income, is voiceover. So that's why you have to choose what's going on top. What's going to be your number one thing that people see on your headline? But then you weave together your stories. So, I can easily share with how LinkedIn came about because of my voiceover business. And Tim saw me speak at my very first conference where I ever opened my mouth to talk about LinkedIn. And I was so scared. And that was in 2016 when I barely knew what I was doing. But the amount of response of people that were like, hey, Tracy, blah, 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 right after the conference, it was insane.
Absolutely.
And that's when I was like, hey, this is something people need. So that's how it grew.
Amazing. Pat Kennedy wants to know, has there been any update from LinkedIn about saved searches? So you got me. I don't even know what those are.
Guys, that is such a bummer. So the last time I was able to do a saved search, I believe was April 26th, maybe. So they took it away sometime in May. It used to be a free option where you could save the search. Like when you did an advanced search, you could save that, and you got 3 of them under a free profile. And then they would actually email you the results once a week. And it was great because it gives you a lead sheet that comes straight to your inbox. Sometime along the way, they probably figured out that free users were enjoying that and they could start charging for it. And I made a stink about it. I contacted customer support and went all the way up as far as I could up the ladder. And they told me they're not bringing it back. So unfortunately, there's not an update on that, and I don't see that coming back. But if enough,
Is it a paid feature? Is it a paid feature if you pay for additional? Because I get solicited by LinkedIn all the time. Hey, you can pay to see who searched and who looked for your profile and blah, blah, blah. And I know in the past you've said that really isn't worthwhile to even pay for any additional services. Just use the free account and milk it.
well, it depends on where you are in your business. I have never had a paid account. I have grown my business using only a free account. And that's kind of my platform. That's where I'm going to stay. And now I'm at the point where I don't actually market that much anymore because I have spent so many years marketing that now I just build on it and clients refer me and things like that. But for those who are starting out and maybe want to really hit that marketing really hard for, say, a year or two, that's probably worth it for them. It's a monthly fee. I don't know which level you have to buy to get it because I haven't looked into it. But it depends on where you are in your business and where you want to go. But
Okay.
it is an option. You just have to pay for it now.
Sure. Any other questions from anybody? You can just ring in, unmute and raise your hand. Wow, you packed a lot of information into that half hour. Really appreciate it, Tracy. That was like mind blowing.
And I know I talk really fast because I want to give you as much value as possible. That's kind of what I'm about.
Any other questions before we move on to the next segment, which is networking?
I do have a very quick question.
Yes.
So Tracy, I do home loans and I get a lot of inbox messages for people that want me to buy leads, and I work pretty much by referral. So how would you, for somebody that isn't basically going to accept those inquiries or touches, how do you recommend that someone, like, should I respond to them, just ignore them, just say no thank you? Like, what is, I guess, the best way to do that? And then, because I think, is somebody gonna think that that's what I'm doing? Because that's how I'm feeling when I'm receiving those messages. So what are your tips on that?
Is there ever a point where you would consider buying leads from someone? Does that feel like a service you would ever want?
Personally, no. I've done it in the past, and it's just something where I've learned in the 18 years I've been doing this, that it's the people, if I buy leads, they're going to nickel and dime me all the way down, and I'm going to work hard for a $200,000 loan amount versus a warmer introduction with the referral, that even if it's a referral from someone that I, kind of a little disconnected there. So no, I mean, and then some of it's website stuff too and all that, but.
Well, see, what they didn't do was they didn't qualify their lead when they reached out to you. However, they may not really know how you operate. So it all kind of, you could actually learn from the types of messages you're receiving.
Mm-hmm.
When you read through them, ask yourself, what resonates with me? If I was interested in buying leads, who out of this ball of people would I buy from? Who's got the good messages? Who's got the good, like, hey, I actually kind of like this person's approach. I just don't need what they're selling. See what you can glean from that. You might even be able to copy some of their lingo and use it for your own template. I think there are learning opportunities everywhere. There's plenty of people who are trying to sell me on something that I don't want. Some are spammy, some are kind of cool. So I would take the cool people, grab some of their wording and language, and craft your own template that works. But as far as responding, that's up to you. I mean, if you don't respond, they're sending out lots of those anyways. I wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, that's the hard part. And the one thing that Tracy does do that she didn't get a chance to talk about is she does personalize her introductory letters to people as she reaches out to people. So she looks around for people who, well, I'll just give you the example because she's a voiceover talent. She looks for people who hire voiceover talent, which would be communications professionals and ad agencies and video production companies and e-learning companies, instructional designers and those types of things. And then she'll sort of say, hey, I really like this type of thing that you've done. And by the way, I'm a voiceover professional, very soft sell, not hard sell, just sort of making them aware of your presence, and then if they take the time to go look at your profile, woo, your profile looks killer. So they're going to be, excited about that.
Right.
Any other questions before we let Tracy go? Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. Round of applause. Yay. Excellent. Yeah.
I'll put in my LinkedIn.